I don't know if this video is going to record. I'm doing some other things in the background that are kind of CPU intensive. We'll see. Um, I wanted to talk about, I'm basically going to add this to my review of Poe, the game I've been playing for, 10 years, whatever. And I have a Steam review on it and it's negative. And it's like basically new people shouldn't get into this. It's for reasons that I list. And it's not a bad game. It's just got some problems, like real life problems. Like it's dangerous for some people. It's very, very geared towards basically psychologically exploiting people, like gambling tendencies, fear of missing out, various shady tactics, like a casino does to make money and to get their hooks in and keep you. And I wanted to also address like the fundamental deception of the game. Like other games, you go in and you try and get good and you win. And Poe is not like that. Poe is like, first of all, it's primarily a simulator. It's an econ simulator. Like the game itself is kind of incidental. Like, it's very complicated and there's a lot of things you can do in it, but there's a whole lot of lying there. There's like, it's a bunch of deception. Like you are given the impression that you can make choices and get a powerful character and then win the game. And that's not really the case. Like, first of all, there are parts of the game that are essentially unwinnable, and they are so hard to reach that it's really unethical to even encourage people to try. It's very much like a casino. It's like you don't take your mortgage to the casino because the house always wins. And to illustrate that point, I want to link to two channels. One is a guy named Connor Converse, and he's like, as far as I can tell, he's like the best, what I would call best player of Poe. Like, he fully understands, excuse me, pepper. He understands the full game. Like, you'll see when you see his videos. And Belton understands the market, which is like the layer above the game. It's like there's a thing in Poe where you can hideout warrior, where you can sit in your hideout and do trades and crafts and things and just exploit the intricacies of the market and make a ton of money. And it's not just like buying stuff for low and selling it for high. It's really adding value. Like, he takes things, parts from multiple people, and synthesizes them together into a thing that somebody somewhere has the money to buy but has no idea how to build. And it's kind of like, it's a form of expertise, and it's like crafting, but there's a very deep understanding of markets and currency and the Wall Street, finance type angles that are in play too. And really, just knowing how to craft is not enough. Like, you need to understand markets too, and that's what Belton does. He understands how to craft really well, and he understands markets and people and all that. And one thing I want to point out, one of the reasons I don't recommend the game, is that if the idea is to make currency, you can focus on just making currency in your hideout and make more than you could ever make playing the game. And while I guess for people like Belton, that's a feature, not a bug, for me, it makes the whole thing fundamentally deceptive, because you have a whole bunch of people working real hard, like not playing, they're working towards this imagined dopamine payoff where they get the cool character and they make the kill and they get the cool drop and victory. And there's just not a path for that. That's not how it works. There are people that do well in solo self-found, but the game is written for people like Belton and Connor and people with tons and tons of money and streamers and things. They're whalers. They're really not interested in the vast majority of the player base. We are there, like me, Scrubs, are there to make things easier for the whales so that the whales have a better justification to continue playing. I mean, that's really the only reason GGG even pretends to court us and even spins things in a direction of being friendly for noobs and scrubs and casuals and stuff. Because what good is being the Giga Chad winner if you don't have a whole pyramid of losers to stand on, right? That's really the thinking. And that's what gamers want, man. I mean, I'm scolding them on a moral level, but not on a business level. Like, this is what people want. People want to be flogged. They want to be lied to. They want to be exploited. They want to be just, some of them want to be abused, you know, like Eurythmics said. And I'm still coming to terms with it, you know, having to adjust my thinking to living in a world like that, you know, a world of fact immunity, a world of a bunch of willing, spineless people. It's just hard, and I'm not that way, and I'm a loser of a different variety. And I'm not saying I'm awesome, you know, I'm definitely a loser objectively, but I'm just not that kind, you know, and I'm not even sure if it's better or worse. Maybe the distinction is meaningless there. But yeah, I just wanted to basically point out, like, if you play Poe and you're upset that your character is too weak, watch Connor's videos to understand why. I'm not saying that he's going to help you get stronger. I'm saying I'm going to show you what it takes to be strong and why you can't get there. No, honey, no. Stop. Please stop. Go over there. And if you find yourself playing and you don't have enough money, go see Belton's videos. And again, it's not, I mean, he does nicely make videos trying to help people. But the thing is, every time you find a tip to make money, if 5 other people are doing it, it's only one market. It's like one tiny little lake, and everybody's fishing in it. And if he tells you about this one little cove that has all these good fish in it, the cove will be flooded, and then there won't be any fish there. And the market is constantly doing that. So I imagine that in order to make money, you have to be there early, and you have to be among the first doing the things, and you do it until the supply is greatly diminished, then you move on to another thing. And I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing every league. And he can tell you about them because very few people remember them all, know the intricacies of them all fast enough. It's you can still do it, right? I'm still doing it. I'm making more money in my hideout than I've made playing before. And, but it's nowhere near enough to buy characters to actually, you know, beat stuff like Deep Delve and Valdo maps. And, so, you know, I like, it's like in my Steam review, I talk about how it's a great game. It's very deep. It's very intensely developed. There's a whole bunch of third-party tools. It's a fully grown ecosystem, and that makes the game more like an operating system, you know. And it has all kinds of plug-in equivalents as a result. You know, you can tailor things, and I like that. And that makes it to where I can't really play other games because they're very, very crude by comparison, and they're very take it or leave it, you know. And while Poe is ultimately that way too, pepper. I put pepper in my food and the little pieces of pepper. Anyway, so yeah, it's like it's fine, and it's got its good points, and I'm probably going to keep playing it because I'm deeply addicted, and I don't have a lot of other options because of that, because I want that flexibility. I'm still waiting for a better game, essentially. Yeah, maybe with AI I can someday make it, but it seems like that's just another paywall. Like I play with AI as best I can on my, you know, $600 budget laptop. It takes an hour to do things, you know. That kind of iteration cycle is too long. So I'd rather be doing something real, but I don't have the money for that. And I don't have anything to offer my species such that they'll share funds with me. So whatever. But yeah, so it's okay to play, but really people need, like, I feel like it's almost like a medical procedure. They need informed consent, and people aren't informed going in. And GGG is definitely not interested in informing people prior to getting their hooks into them. You know, a casino is not going to put up a sign saying gambling is bad for you and make a genuine effort to display it in such a way that it will dissuade people from walking in. You know, they might put it up because somebody makes them or whatever, but it'll always be malicious compliance. They're not seriously trying to, you know, adhere to the spirit of that warning. So I'm giving the warning. I'm saying, you know, man, it's basically like taking up chewing tobacco. It's a terrible, terrible habit. It's disgusting, and just don't do it. But if you're going to do it, I mean, you know, you're allowed to make your choices and stuff. And if you think you can do it in such a way that it's great for you, fine. You know, whatever. I don't know. I can't think of a situation where chewing tobacco is good for a person, but, you know, maybe there is one. I'm leaving the door open for that. But in order to really know what you're getting into, and I haven't been able to do this before because there hasn't really been, first of all, my understanding was incomplete, but also there weren't like these two handy dandy, super extreme example channels to show. You know, it's like, if you want to know how impossible the fucking game is, look at Connor's channel. If you want to know how impossible the fucking market is, look at Belton's channel. And more importantly, try to do either one of the things. Like, try to play the market on one of Belton's videos. If it's not super new, you probably will very quickly find that either the pool you're dipping into dries up because of you, or it's already dry. And with Connor's stuff, you'll go to copy one of his insane builds that do these crazy things, and you'll find that it's like 40 bajillion mirror for like his weakest item. So, you know, or it just doesn't exist, and it's impossible to craft or whatever, you know. So it just feels pointless, and it's funny because, like, that's the nature of addiction. Like, you can intellectually realize that what you're doing is bad and stupid, and yet your emotional brain and your dopamine and reward circuit are all fucked up from it, and so you just keep doing it, and you don't want to stop yourself doing it because you know that the alternative is like, the alternative for me would basically be sitting here. You know, I would do more of the stuff I already do when I'm not playing Poe, like Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, you know, and those things have very little value. You know, it's like, okay, I get to have today's snapshot on how utterly stupid my species is, how mean and cruel and vicious and just spineless and lazy. And, you know, I'm kind of becoming a misanthrope. I mean, people are very disappointing. I do blame the billionaires for making many of us, you know, worthy of misanthropy. But at the same time, I don't see them directly. They're not the ones showing up to cause problems. Like, it's not Elon Musk that's making the city of Ashland harass my family weekly for some stupid shit. You know, oh, your house is the wrong color. Oh, your grass is just a little too tall. Oh, your gutters aren't up to spec, you know, and you have 10 days to fix it. They literally stole my life savings doing that because it terrified my family. You know, it's like, here's a letter, fix it in 10 days. Well, you know, that's not true. It's more like months and months and months and months and months. It's just a bunch of bureaucratic crap. And then there's steps. But they present it as a flashing lights of urgency. So everybody panics and have to liquidate everything. Any kind of hope you're building for the future to try and maybe get out of this poverty trap. Oh, nope, that has to go. It's like the standard, no one in America can afford a $500 emergency. And that's designed to be a $500 emergency. And so, yeah, like, and at no point in that was a billionaire. I don't think there's even a billionaire in this state. Nobody wants to be here. So I'm dealing with a bunch of collaborators, you know, and the collaborators, while they live better than me, they are not eating 10,000 gold-plated sundaes. They're collaborators doing it for a bar of chocolate. And it's hard, like, intellectually, it's hard not to hate them. Like, and that's what I mean by that is it's hard to make an argument where I shouldn't hate them with priority. because they're the boots on the ground, in my face, on my throat. And it goes back to what I was saying about, the game wants to exploit gamers, and because gamers want to be flogged and exploited. I don't know. I'm not that way, but that's how they are. I mean, you just try and make an argument for player political agency in a gaming context anywhere, on any forum. And if you're not immediately banned or your post isn't immediately removed, you'll have fans of that game defend the company against you for attempting to hand them power. It's like a coworker that punches you in the face because you're trying to unionize. That's gamers. And it's hard not to be like, you're the problem. Granted, management's the problem. The capital owner, the billionaire. It all does always boil down to a billionaire. Granted. But there's a bunch of steps. And man, I just don't have any respect for the steps at this point. Like, it's like politically, where is the peace movement in America? It got eaten. And I think it let itself be eaten. I think a lot of people know that torture and death is happening with our money. We do as we're told, we go to work, we buy our thing, and horror happens to some distant person that we'd ever see. It's like in that episode of The Twilight Zone where they hand you a box and you press the button and some random person dies and you get $1 million. Okay? Most people would press the button. Now in Twilight Zone, it was a cute, justice chain, karmic reward where the next person that pushed the button would kill you, and that's where the $1 million came from. But in the real world, the button just does what advertised, and there's no trick and there's no justice. So somebody dies, and it's like a 1 in a 8 billion or 9 billion shot, whatever it is now. Of course, it's going to be 5 billion here shortly, thanks to the population crash, fertility crash. Anyway. But yeah, I wanted to just make, and all my sides and tangents and stuff are just context. I just wanted to make a video that showcases these two accounts and shows the problem with Poe. It's like, it's impossible to win by playing, and it's impossible to earn by playing. And the people who come closest still aren't really there. You can tell that they're not like where they want to be. Like, because it's human nature. If they really, really got what they want, if Belton found this perfect exploit and he ended up with like 40 million mirrors, the genie wish, the perfect market exploit, he'd probably leave. He's like, I have defeated that aspect of Poe that I play. I'm going to go home now. It's boring to me. I've stomped it. Maybe he'd do it every league and nobody could stop him, So there's still a win condition that he's always going to be chasing. Similar with Connor. He's like got this ridiculous build and he can do these amazing things in the game and delete hard content in an instant and everything. But it's never a victory so crushing that he really feels it enough to make his, lizard brain detach. And that's certainly an aspect that keeps me coming back, is like there's this belief that, oh, well, I can just get to, there's this other tier of level, and I'm way below these dudes. I'm not trying to replace them, although that is ultimately the goal. The idea is just to get a little bit better and have a better time and everything. But it's donkey and carrot on a stick. It's like, I'll never get there. It's always just out of reach, And I want to warn people. It's like, do not put your coin into this slot machine. Don't pull the handle. It's like, strange game. The only winning move is not to play. And I guess that's that. Thanks to the one person, maybe, who will play that to the end.